Native people, Native culture, Native knowledge. Hi, I'm Jeannie Green, bringing you award-winning Heartbeat Alaska.
Bringing you national and international Native news, this is award-winning Heartbeat Alaska, the premier Native voice in Native programming.
There's a heartbeat, louder than thunder, revolution is in the air. There's a heartbeat deep inside our mother. Are you too cool to care?
Now, with Heartbeat Alaska, here's Jeannie Green.
Hello, welcome to Heartbeat Alaska, Native News and Native Entertainment. I'm Jeannie Green. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we travel back through the past and take a look at 1997, revisit villages and old friends. 1998 promises to be an exciting year, but 1997 holds some wonderful memories as well. We'll travel back in time right after John Active with Native News across the country.
Merry Christmas from Heartbeat, Alaska. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Heartbeat Alaska is brought to you in part by the Division of Alcoholism and Drug Abuse and the Alaska Council on Prevention of Alcohol and Drug Abuse. Together, preventing substance abuse statewide. And by Ute Air Alaska, official airlines of Heartbeat Alaska. Ute Air Alaska, taking you home.
Thank you, Jeannie. It's great to be back on Heartbeat Alaska. First of all, kudos to Alicia Igmi, a member of the Choctaw Nation who is currently studying in Zanzibar, Africa. She is an environmental studies major at the University of Redlands in Southern California. Alicia is studying coastal ecology in that country. Part of her studies include language training at the University of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania and observation of red colobus monkeys on the island off the coast of that nation. Alicia is a top swimmer at the University of Redlands swim team and a member of the polo team there. In Anchorage, Alaska, the local school voted Thursday banning American Indian myths and legends from Anchorage school libraries. No Anchorage students will be allowed to get their hands on the book, which will be segregated in resource collections that only teachers can read. Any teachers brave, excuse the pun, enough to still want to use some of the material in the book in the classroom, following all the community brouhaha, will have to get the principal's permission first. And even then, 20 or so offending stories will be off limits. The American Indian stories are an enduring art form that reflects a culture's beliefs and mores. There are more truths to myths than is apparent from literal interpretation. The Anchorage Daily News, in an editorial today, believes that American Indian myths and legends can be a worthwhile book for high school students. The school board did not come down on the side of the newspaper that way they would have liked. There is no way to satisfy everyone in a situation like this. Foam-bespattered zealots who would be satisfied by no less than having the book burned in a public ceremony ought to back off now in recognition of the fact that compromise is necessary unless you're willing to live in a police state. I ask, when will people learn? The Bureau of Indian Affairs has a new boss. He's Pawnee lawyer Kevin Grover. The United States Senate confirmed him last month, and anti-gambling group had opposed his nomination as Assistant Interior Secretary for Indian Affairs because of his work for Indian casinos in New Mexico. But Gober was widely supported by tribal leaders, and the Senate approved his nomination on November 9th before adjournment. And finally, more kudos go out to Beth Jacoby, who completed her licensed practical nursing program in Stillwater, Oklahoma in July. She contracted with the United States Army for college assistance, and she graduated from basic training at Jackson, South Carolina in October. Her civilian job is working as an LPN in newly constructed Alaska Native Medical Center in Anchorage, Alaska. Her career plans are to attend University of Alaska in Anchorage beginning in January with the career goal of attending medical school. And that concludes Native News Across the Country. See you again next year. And don't forget to join Jeannie with her Merry Christmas special coming soon. Alusistok Chikichi, that's Yupik. Have a Merry Christmas. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, John Active. Great to have you with us on Heartbeat Alaska, and glad to see that you're in the holiday mood. Let's travel back to 1997 and visit some of our favorite villages.
There's a heartbeat.
Heartbeat Alaska, a moving view.
Revolution.
Hi, Jeannie.
The village of Barrow is located on the northern coast of Alaska. For many centuries, the Inupiat Eskimo have journeyed through the harsh environment of the North Slope. It is this example of strength and courage that makes the Inupiat so unique. The theme to the 53rd presidential inaugural is An American Journey. The Barrow Dancers are traveling to Washington, D.C. to participate in the inaugural festivities. Longtime resident and Barrow dancer, Martha Aiken, explains.
Well, we were invited from Washington, D.C., direct from Washington, D.C., the presidential inaugural parade committee invited us. It's one of the highest events that happens within the United States of America, and we're part of it. That's how elated we are and excited and to be a part of it. The message that we'd like to give to the world is to be happy, because Eskimo dancing is a part of our celebration for happy events. We want to pass that on to any culture that there is within the United States of America. To be happiness will lessen our problems that are always trying to conflict our lives. And being happy and will make America more bountiful and loving. And maybe by our happiness, we'll be able to forgive any bad things that happen to us.
The 20 Barrow Dancers representing the state of Alaska are headed to the nation's capital. With them, they bring a message of celebration, happiness, and peace. In Barrow, Alaska, this is Mario Gamboa.
Thank you so much, Mario Gamboa from Ukpiavik Inupiat Corporation, for sending us that video from Barrow. And you have your own Heartbeat Alaska Native News hat on the way. We travel now to Akiak, Alaska, and learn about that village.
Akiak means the other side, or across from it. The people in Akiak never stay in town much. Year-round, there's always something to do.
That's where
This dog race was the Eddie Hoffman Memorial Sled Dog Race, held last month, where 26 mushers from all over the state participated. The Yupik School District is made up of 3 villages, Akiak, Akiak, and Tuluksak. The Akiak Elementary School is busting with eager learners. The Yupik language and culture is taught to all students every single day. Years ago, when non-natives first came to this region, the BIA built a school, and for this reason, many people started moving to Akiak so their children could attend school. Back then, the federal government also built a bed hospital. They perform medical services, even surgery for those in need of medical services for people all over the Kuskokwim Delta. The hospital is similar to the one in Bethel, Alaska. Akiak is a Yupik village located on the Kuskokwim River, approximately 30 miles upriver from Bethel, Alaska, with a population of 350 people. Vernon Evan lives in Marshall, Alaska. Marshall, Alaska started life as a community about 70 years ago as a gold mining town. At that time, there was a native village about 5 miles downriver and another native village about 20 miles upriver. Although there are many old village sites along the river, there never seems to have been one where Marshall is located. Today, Vernon Evan is out at his fish trap. It's a big job, but he's up for it even though he's 74 years old. He tends to his fish trap several times a week, and sometimes every day. Villagers often come by and give him a hand. First, he has to clear away the mushy ice, the slush. The ice this time went down about a foot. It's all got to be cleared away. Underneath this ice lays the treasure he came all the way out here for, fish. The trap is under several feet of water, held under by poles. The poles are used also to pull the trap up. One side of the trap enables the fish to go through, but not come back through. This takes several men, well, at least 2, since it's a rather heavy trap. But look what it brings, lots of fish. Today's catch was a lot less, though, according to Vernon, than he normally would get. Today's catch included lush whitefish, pike, sheefish, and some straggler salmon.
We just checked it yesterday. Getting bigger, huh? A little bit. Well, there were some big ones yesterday, too. Now, you guys got to take care of the trap. I'm going to leave tomorrow for it. Oh, yeah? No, anymore. Okay.
Presently, Marshall, Alaska has around 270 people, most of which are Yupik. Approximately 85 of those people are children in school. Marshall's history has given it a definite character. It's perhaps the most bicultural of all Yupik villages on the Yukon. Everyone, or their parents or grandparents, came from somewhere else, it seems. The early mining boom days forced an awareness of and ability to cope with most features of the outside culture. However, the native people were living in a region where they had always lived and were able to retain much of their language, skills, and culture.
In 1997, we introduced someone that's been famous across America, but never on Heartbeat Alaska. In fact, it was the first time this video premiered. Darling, Don't Cry with Buffy Sainte-Marie.
Right there. They're going on federal land and taking these wildlife and stuff like that. So.
He's opinionated. He's an elder. He's 82-year-old Sidney Huntington. Athabascan. He now lives in Galena, Alaska. Sidney Huntington and his thoughts, we thought we'd share some of them with you today.
Again, they're surrounded, I say, with federal land. People in Massachusetts, New York, California, Texas, the environmentalists will say, they can't hunt on our land. That's our land, and rightfully it is, because the federal government stole it back from the Indians, so it's theirs. And what do? They close it off, and these people are right in a little bit of a area, a couple of hundred people in a little small area, trying to live off of their land, which was designated to them by the Native Land Claim Settlement Act.
Galena is located in the traditional Koyukon Athabascan Indian Territory in the western interior of Alaska, on the Yukon River, at a place that is commonly known in the local Athabascan language as a place meaning referencing a fishing spot across the Yukon River from Galena, where the river goes around in an eddy.
This is Carol, my wife, my Eskimo bride, and I'm Roger Huntington.
Roger Huntington is one of the sons of Sidney Huntington. Present-day Galena is a broad mixture of cultures living the rural life that is by and large influenced by the native culture.
Given me this year is this wolf here. One of 6 that I caught this year. But there's so many of them out there, so much resources that God has given us that they're there for us to use. This particular wolf was probably going to be given to somebody for a memorial potlatch, and Carol and I like to give those kind of special gifts out because they come from us together, and we try to give it in appreciation for what God has given us, and just sharing in it. And plus it's kind of like our background and our native culture. We like to give good gifts away.
Like in most areas of rural Alaska, wage opportunities are limited. Roger Huntington owns a mom-and-pop type business, including room and board rooms and place to buy gas, a handy place in Galena, Alaska. Survival of the people here depends heavily on the ability to supplement their food intake with the renewable wildlife and other natural resources. Following World War II, the military was interested in expanding on its radar technology and defense capabilities in this area. An Air Force base was built. Since then, the base has left Galena, and in its place has left Galena with a hazardous waste cleanup site. The Air Force walked away, leaving behind buried fuel tanks, asbestos-filled buildings, electrical transformers, landfills, and other hazards unknown to the Athabascan tribe. And though the landscape is blemished in some areas of this country, the beauty still shines through. 82-year-old Sidney Huntington is the patriarch of this area. He's the example of hard work and a memory of a life that dictates still his daily walk.
Or even think of other people. In the early days, when I say think of other people, thinking of other people and working with other people, helping the people that really need help when they need it. I remember a man here in Galena, his house burned down. Warner Paul, he had a family, 4 kids. In 2 days, the people of Galena got together and put him back up a house. And he moved in on the 3rd day. But you don't see that happen anymore. Everybody's waiting for a paycheck and stuff. They forgot that they had a fellow man. You know, in this world, if you don't recognize your fellow man, there's not much use to be living or being around people, because without your fellow man, you're pretty helpless yourself. I don't care how much money you are or who you are. You know, you gotta live with the community, and people learn to love you, and you love them. And that's what God put us all on this earth for, as far as I'm concerned.
Their motto is First Responders, Last Frontier. Village public safety officers are generally the first to respond to calls for help from community members in the bush. Bush conditions in Alaska are nothing like the city. The same goes for law enforcement and safety. What works in the city often does not apply in the bush.
Class, dress right, dress. Wait on the command. At close interval, dress right, dress.
The Alaska Department of Public Safety recognized these differences, and in the late 1970s, a wider range of public safety services was born, the Village Public Safety Officers Program. The VPSOs are dedicated and concerned citizens willing to undergo training at Sitka at the Alaska State Trooper Academy. The VPSO Training Academy in Sitka is tailor-made for the bush. The officers are trained in 5 public safety areas: fire suppression, law enforcement, search and rescue, water safety, and emergency medical services. This type of training provides the VPSO with the rudimentary tools required to handle most incidents that are serious threats to life and property in the bush. After training, the VPSO officers go home. Often home is where they grew up, a village peopled with relatives and friends. It's a unique situation. It can be a tough job, also a rewarding one. public safety, protecting those you know as neighbors. But it may also mean protecting neighbors from other neighbors. This is where dedication and caring play a major role.
I know I'll feel a lot more confident doing my job because there was a lot of things that I didn't understand when dealing with, you know, just dealing with like domestic violence and stuff like that. Now I have a better understanding and I'd feel more comfortable handling those situations.
Continual support from the Alaska State Troopers makes handling situations much easier. Each VPSO is assigned to an oversight trooper that serves as a mentor. The oversight troopers assist on a day-to-day basis, providing each VPSO with a wide spectrum of on-the-job training and conducting oversight visits to the villages. Law enforcement in most rural areas is the responsibility of the Alaska State Troopers. From bush outposts, troopers attempt to respond immediately to emergencies, as quickly as possible to felony cases, and as soon as possible to misdemeanors. Their efforts, however, are often hampered by delayed notification, long response distance, uncertainties of weather and transportation, and limited manpower. In communities associated with the VPSO program, citizens are afforded immediate response to all emergencies without delays caused by weather and distance or budgetary restraints. And although VPSOs are not expected to handle high-risk or complex investigative situations, they do act as a valuable communications link with the troopers. Helping others and sharing was once a way of life in rural Alaska. Today, natives in the bush still respond to a neighbor's need. Sometimes that means enforcing waterway laws, like wearing life preservers in jackets. The VPSO lives in the bush. He's the one in the uniform. He's probably your neighbor. A good one to have.
Wasn't that fun? What's going to be more fun is 1998. Thanks to you and the video that I hope you send in. Look for Heartbeat Alaska to grow to 1 hour of Native news and Native entertainment. We're still here and we're still growing. Thank you so much for joining us. And join us again next week for our 6th annual Heartbeat Alaska Christmas special. God bless you. I'm Jeannie Green. We'll see you again next week.
There's a heartbeat. We got this.